Flamecraft has got an expansion, and who knew this little box would be packed full of fire.
Welcome to BoxedMeeples, I'm Julian and this is Libby, and we have always been fans of the Cardboard Alchemy game Flamecraft, with those adorable dragons, that fantastic playmat, and all of that Sandartang cuteness.
Yes, yes.
And we've often heard it said that this is a fantastic introduction game, a game everyone can play, but we're gamers. And while we do enjoy playing the lighter games, sometimes we want to be stretched, we want to be pushed. And what's fantastic is that Dragons and Dragons Flamecraft expansion does exactly that. Turns an introduction game into a proper thinky gamer's game.
And it's going to do that in 5 different ways. There's 5 modular elements to it that you can add in whichever ones you want. So you just want to add a little extra spice, or if you want to, you know, really add some thinking space to those cute dragons and fire this game up, then everything you need is inside that tiny box.
It's recommended you pick 2 of the 5, but which you're going to pick? Don't worry, let's go through each of them now.
So first up is Elder Enchanted, and this is one that we really loved playing with. This looks like a shop, but it isn't. It's going to sit just outside of town at the end of the map, and you're going to have a deck of cards with this, and these are all different dragon scales. And what happens is whenever you enchant a shop, you're going to have the opportunity to pay some extra resources, maybe some coins, maybe fancy dragons even as payment, whatever it's going to ask you to pay in order to gain an additional benefit, having done all of your enchantment, all of that firing up the dragons, and you can get this extra thing as well. So it really does hike up all your rewards that you're going to be getting when you get to enchant.
It does really put that emphasis on enchanting, which enriches the shops for everyone around the board. So it might give you more of an incentive to do that. There's a little extra addition to your playmat when you're playing with the Dragons and Dragon expansion. It's the Parks and Crafts. This overlays over the normal mat, and what it allows you to do is, rather than drawing a card, which you do a lot when you're playing Flamecraft, adding an artisan dragon to your hand, you can instead not add a dragon when you're told to draw one. Instead, you can activate a dragon that's on display in the park. Maybe you're feeling a little light on resources and there's a dragon there that allows you to add more to your stash. Activate them, you've got more there, which will allow you to do maybe additional things on your next turn.
Yeah, and for example, if you had Parks and Crafts and Elder Enchanted in play, a great example of how those two could work together was if on the shop that you were enchanting, there was maybe a red dragon, which would have allowed you to take a dragon, and there happened to be a diamond dragon in the park, and you didn't have the resources that you needed to do that elder enchantment with the scales that were there. That diamond dragon might actually enable you to get what you need to fulfill that, and then you get to do another level of achievements by adding that in on that turn that you wouldn't have maybe normally been able to do.
Or say there's an enchantment on the board you want to be able to do next turn. Getting those extra resources might allow you to do that. And so you can already see how the different expansions can start to work together to really add some complexity to your normal game of Flamecraft.
Yeah. So I said previously Elder Enchantment wasn't a new shop, but there is a new starter shop, and it's called Double Dragons, and wow, does it pack a punch.
It does.
It packs 6 dragons, potentially. So Double Dragons is going to allow you to stack 2 dragons on each of the spaces that it has. And of course, if you're firing up your dragons in that section, you're going to get to fire both of them up. This could have some really great benefits. Like, I know that there are some fancy dragons that are going to allow you to maybe get 2 points for every dragon that you were able to fire up that turn, for example. So if you happen to be able to enchant the Double Dragon shop, well, that's 12 points if you have that fancy dragon. Of course, all the players are going to need to be adding their dragons to the Double Dragon shop in order for that sort of perfect storm to happen. But it just gives an example of really how much extra stuff, how much of a punch having double dragons is going to have there. And it's a wild shop, so you're going to get whatever resource you're looking for, and all those resources from those dragons
buffet
too.
of bonuses there.
Yeah.
What I found is once someone goes there, that's when the floodgates open. It works really great at bigger player counts because you immediately start seeing this build up of resources, and that drive to go there gets more and more increased. So obviously, to start off with, going there, a little benefit. There's no starting dragon there. But once by the end game, having an ability to get all those resources, particularly if it allows you to maybe satisfy some of your fancy dragon endgame goals, it's going to be somewhere you want to head.
Yeah, people are going to be fighting over this spot for sure, and there are going to be resources handed over because other dragons are already in the shop that you want to go to.
Of course, in the base Flamecraft, there was a way you could add a little bit of complexity to your game if you played it an awful lot, in the form of the companion cards. These are great. You look at them and you think, oh, this power is going to be game-breaking.
Yes.
You felt all-powerful every time you got to activate it, and for the most time, you could only activate each of your companions once.
Yes.
The problem was, there just wasn't enough of them. If you're playing a large player count, you'd see most of them every time you play. But don't worry. In true expansion form, Dragons and Dragons add new companions to your game, all with all new abilities.
Yeah, and boy, are these ones great. I mean, you used Luke and you really maximized that one. It was such a turn when you played his ability. Brilliant.
Yeah. And it's not adding a lot of complexity, but it does add that special kind of unique ability, a slightly asymmetrical power that just makes each time you're playing Flamecraft adjust the tactics you have to take when you're moving around the town, what shops you're going to visit, how is it going to benefit, and when is the best time, when's the most opportune moment for me to activate my companion.
Yeah, and that's what I've been thinking about when the games that we've been playing, like, you know, how long can I wait this out? Maybe I have to give him some fancy dragons. How can I make sure that he's not going to be able to score from them? All these different things just to make sure you're maximizing the points for you and minimizing them for your opponents. Right, last up, the fifth element of this modular expansion is the most exciting.
Yeah, we've saved the best to last.
So this has hybrid dragons, or you're going to be very familiar with them as dual dragons as well, because this has the dragon cards from Flamecraft Duals in it. And of course, they are hybrid dragons. They have two different types of dragon merged into one. So your cards are so powerful, so powerful. There are lots of different sets of them, and you put in a specific set in.
Don't go crazy and put them all in. That'd be some sort of mad game.
Most of the games that we've played, we've put in Team Gamer, because if you have seen our coverage on Flamecraft Duals, you'll see that sort of calzone was our little logo in the campaign, so we thought best to have the team that he has in there. But it basically makes sure that you have a good balance of the type of dragons that you're going to need and those combinations. So you're picking a Team Cozy, Team Gamer, Team whatever that's there, sweet. There's lots of teams there for you to pick from, and lots of super cute new dragons. But it's not just their cuteness. I mean, they have some real gameplay. They're going to make you want to go to a shop. They're going to make you want to enchant that specific shop. They're really going to be driving gameplay because they have two elements.
Yeah, and it's not just when they're in a shop you get to choose which of their kind of traits you're going to get. So you get to say it's a meat and a bread. Well, you can choose if you want meat or bread. Their abilities are more powerful than the standard dragon, and nicely they're a fusion of the traditional powers that you get. And what's great about Flamecraft, despite all its beautiful, varied art, it's always been fantastic to teach because the bread abilities always do the same, regardless of which type of bread dragon you have. What's good in these is that they've taken the fusion of those abilities and merged them together to still follow that trend. So it's not like some dual dragon's going to do something crazy. A meat and bread calzone is going to behave like a meat and bread dragon would do if those two abilities were fused.
In an all-powerful, amazing way.
In a great way. And obviously there's less of these in the deck. So when you see them come available in the park, there's always that, okay, now I've got to find a way to draw a dragon to make sure I get that into my hand, to make sure that ends up in the shop I want it to, so I can keep activating it when I visit that shop. They are fantastic in the game.
Yeah, and we've had some games where we've happened to have 2 high dragons in one shop, and boy was that shop popular.
Yeah.
It was enchanted max amount of times, had all the dragons full there. We were just visiting it all the time that we could. And then later in the game, we're using that to move them around to then still be able to activate them. And you know, when you get to swap dragons around, we're doing that strategically to still be able to get all those actions. So it really does focus in.
Yeah, when you see another dragon on the board and it says activate another dragon elsewhere, where are you looking? Of course, you're going to be looking to those high dragons.
Yes.
And at the end of the game, when you're scoring those fancy dragons, these count as both of their traits.
Yes.
So when it comes to scoring, say, you know, points for the most amount of leaf dragons on there, well, if you've got a leaf high dragon, that's going to count. So it starts, you know, affecting so many different elements of the gameplay. By far the most exciting part of this expansion are those high dragons.
And that they are on them, of course, is incredible. Incredible. There's a few other bits that we haven't mentioned as well. So one of the cards, the companion cards there, is just for the solo mode, Han Solo. So it's good to think about. And also there's some more adventure dragons that you can pop in there as well. So there are some other little things, but they are the 5
They're the main
things that you're going to get in Dragons and Dragons.
And like I said, if you know Flamecraft, and you've played it as many times as us, I'm sure you still love it, but maybe that sparkle's gone. Maybe just get into routine of how you play it. This mixes so much up. I wasn't joking when I said this turns it into a gamery game. It doesn't add too much complexity, but you'll be seeing much higher scores when you play it because there's so many different ways you can now score much larger amounts. It does feel like a pressure to keep up with the leading dragon and keeping on top of those scores. It focuses much more on pooling fancy dragons and trying to work out what's the best way of scoring us with these new rule sets. It really does make it there's so many elements of it. I do like the way you only add certain bits to the game when you're playing to keep it varied, but there's certain elements I can't imagine us ever playing Flamecraft without now.
No, we will always add some elements from this, and for those of you that care, it all fits in with Facebook.
It does.
So that's also a nice big tick.
So obviously, we love Flamecraft. We're big fans of Dragons and Dragons. And yes, if you want to get it too, a good place to go is your friendly local game shop when it is available at retail.
Of course, if you'd like the content that we have here, we would really love if you would subscribe to us, maybe give us a like, a comment. Which of these modules do you think is most exciting? We would love to hear from you.
And as always, thanks so much for watching.
Bye.